I was having dinner with a few friends back in September, and I remember telling them that my average profits on Celsius was 140%. But today I am losing money on Celsius. I lost all of these gains. It used to be around 10% of my portfolio. Today it is around 8% of my portfolio. Of course, I bought more shares, and that's one of the reasons why my profits are down. Because when I bought these new shares now, I bought at a higher price that I did in 2024, 2025. But nevertheless, the stock is down over 50% from what it used to be just a few months ago. And in the last week itself, the stock crashed by over 10%. I tried to find out in one day the stock crashed by 10%. What happened? So the first thing I do when I see a stock moving too much, I just go on the investor relations page to try to see if there is any news, any update from the company. But if I don't see anything, I know that most probably it doesn't mean much. And I was right about Celsius. Actually, they were downgraded by some analysts, which I don't really care about. Because if you think about the fundamentals of the company itself, about the valuation of the company, today the company should be worth more than it was in 2025. Because they have finally completely acquired their main competitor, Alani Nu. If we are counting just zero sugar energy drinks, they have acquired also Rockstar, and only now the integration into the Pepsi system for distribution is being undergone. We have not yet seen the effects of the Pepsi distribution fully on Alani Nu, even Celsius and Rockstar. But I agree that maybe in September the stock was expensive. Maybe you might say I should have taken profits. The old me would have taken profits, but I don't think like this anymore. I see Celsius as a compounder, and you never know what is going to happen. Maybe it would have gone even higher, and then I would have regretted to have sold so early. If it is not such a big portion of your portfolio, it was 10%, I was willing to take this risk. I always ask myself, if it falls by 50%, will I be able to live with that? Will I buy more? If the answer is yes to both, I'm willing to hold it. And it fell by 50%, I bought more. No fundamentals change. The valuation increased according to me. If you're looking at a company like Celsius, the way to think about it is the growth, because most of the value comes from this, from the company being bigger than what it is today. When I first invested in the company, they had about 10% of market share, I think 10-15%. This was before the acquisition of Alani Nu. Today, it is around 21% of market share in the US. Of course, it's because of Alani Nu, the rapid growth of Alani Nu. I don't disagree with that. That's a wonderful acquisition they made. They have two $1 billion brands, Alani Nu and Celsius. There's also the additional Pepsi distribution system, and that's how they got Rockstar from Pepsi. Now, with the help of Pepsi, both Alani Nu can grow in the US more rapidly. And actually, Alani Nu is not so popular as Celsius. It is popular in some states, but not really, let's say, in New York. And in the recent presentation at Goldman Sachs, some managers at Celsius were talking about asking people about Celsius. Everyone knows about Celsius. And then they ask about Alani Nu. Many people don't know about Alani Nu, and they say that this is an opportunity, which means they can grow. And with the Pepsi distribution system, they can grow. And you need to understand something, that Alani Nu right now is growing faster than Celsius. This is also for optimization. You cannot have the two brands compete with each other. If you have promotions on one, you don't have promotions on the other. So that's why I tell you, listen to the management, what they're saying. You don't have to listen just to the CEO, CFO. Listen to the people who work at the company, who knows what is happening, what they are doing, what's the plan ahead in the operations itself. Not just about the picture that Wall Street wants to paint to you. And then there's also the international growth. It's about 4% of the total revenues, which is not much, but it is growing very rapidly. And Celsius has said that they want to focus on the US and on the markets they are already operating for now, because of the changes happening with Pepsi. It's not like software. You can just make a few clicks. I don't know how software works. Maybe a few 100,000 clicks and you launch a new product. It's not like that. There's a lot of inventory they have to manage. There's a lot of things they have to pay the distributors, and this is affecting the accounting. If you look at the income statement, you might see losses there, but it's actually because a one-time payment, and this is partly refunded by Pepsi, by the way. And this part that is refunded by Pepsi eventually will get amortized. So you will see these losses over the years, but it doesn't affect the cash flows of the company. So you have to consider all of this, not just look at the PE ratio, which seems to be quite high, and say that Celsius is a bad investment. It's not the case. I like the company. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not telling you to invest in this, but it is a wonderful company. If you had invested in Celsius 10 years ago, you would have been very rich today. But unfortunately, I would not have done it 10 years ago, because when I look at Celsius, back then, there's so much competition, so many different companies, energy drinks. This is an easy thing to enter. You don't know which one will win. Celsius was the one that won. And now I know that they won because of good management, the things they did. And it's not just Celsius, they acquired Alani Nu. So you have these two brands now having 21% of market share in the US. If you had invested in Celsius back then, you would have got lucky. Good for you if you did it, but I did not do it. I don't regret doing it. But today when I look at the picture, when I look at the story of Celsius, it is better. It is something I like better, something I understand better. It's not a bad thing if you join the train late. At least you know where it is going now. And I see Celsius going in the right direction. Celsius is only 8% of my portfolio, as I said today. One company that is 30% of my portfolio is Wise. I will recommend you watch this video next about Wise. It is now listed in the US. Have a nice day and goodbye.